Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome Mark Tindal from To Kill Achilles to the podcast. To Kill Achilles will release their new album, Recovery, on August 11th via Rising Empire Records. Fans of bands like La Dispute and Touche Amore will want to check this record out. Mark talks about buying tab books, weaseling his way into To Kill Achilles, being grateful for a rising empire, writing music to match the lyrics, and more. I'm a big fan of Recovery. Do yourself a favor and go listen to Something to Remember Me By as you wait for Recovery to drop next week. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform of choice. There were 3 podcasts last week, so hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. You can also join the mailing list, which a ton of people checked out last week, so thank you. Or come hang out on Discord. Links are in the show notes. Enjoy today's chat with Mark Tindal from To Kill Achilles.
Hey buddy, we're so obsessed with how we look or how we dress, or if we're fitting in the best that we can. It's like we're wearing a disguise behind the person in life, behind the photos and the size of our back. And that's just weird to me, cause like, what does it matter if my clothes don't fit your preference?
You're in Scotland?
I am, yes.
Where in Scotland?
A place called Dundee, not a big city.
Okay.
Boring. How about you?
Washington, D.C.
See, now that's far more iconic.
Right? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Before COVID hit, my wife was in talks to take a job in Edinburgh.
Oh, cool.
We were going to move there, and then COVID happened, and it's like, fuck everything. So
Yeah, fair. Yeah. I mean, you avoided a lot of rain, I'll tell you that much.
I bet. Well, yeah. Stoked to have you here. Did you grow up in the small town you currently live in or around there?
Yeah, pretty much. I've been Dundee forever. It's not the most exciting, but I don't mind it. It's home.
Yeah. What was growing up like?
It was cool, man. Very, very privileged little lifestyle over here, you know? Yeah. Just group of friends, nice family, everything's cool. Lots of rain. I used to skateboard quite a lot. I was terrible, but that was fun.
Yeah.
Just
nice.
Classic, isn't it? Listen to Blink-182. It was great.
Yeah. Was skateboarding your gateway into music?
Not entirely, no. I think I just became obsessed with, I think my main thing was whenever my parents had stuff on in the car, I just got absolutely mesmerized. Like, I'm the kind of guy, a song comes on and I can't speak because I'm just analyzing, and I've done that since I was about 3.
Nice. What was your gateway into like hardcore, punk rock, or whatever?
Genuinely, it's such an always answer, right? One of my friends showed me the Black Album by Metallica.
Okay, yeah.
And before that, I think my favorite band was like Red Hot Chili Peppers because it was wacky. And I was like, this is cool. So he showed me the Black Album, and I was like, what is this? And I just got hooked on it. So Metallica kind of opened the door for heavy music, especially the early stuff. And then I checked out other 80s stuff, and then you kind of get used to that. So you branch a little bit harder and a bit harder and a bit harder. And eventually just got really into hardcore and some of the aggressive metal stuff. Love a bit of Whitechapel, you know? It's good.
Yeah. From Metallica to Whitechapel, that makes sense.
It's the classic gateway.
I feel like there's a line somewhere, and I don't know if it's where you grew up or who your friends were or how old you are, but there's like some line where it's like Metallica's the gateway, and then all of a sudden it's like Linkin Park and Slipknot are the gateway, and it's
you're exactly right. Like you're entirely right. I think I heard the Black Album, then bought Hybrid Theory.
Okay.
Then someone showed me Iowa, and I was like, that's a mess, but I love it. And then that, it's I think Offspring are always in there for me as well. I don't know why. That was like the punk side of it. I was like, oh, that's cool. And
yeah. On the punk side, I feel like Green Day and Blink-182 are universal. It's just where in the line you pick up on that.
Yeah. Big one for me as well was Nirvana. Nirvana was like, it was like the rocky, grungy thing, but with those aggressive vocals, I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. Was there a scene somewhere local to where you grew up that you could be involved in, or?
it's you could call it a scene, like especially when I was younger. You know, like I'm in Dundee just now. I'm from a little town like 14 miles out, so it's tiny. It's famous for golf of all things. How hardcore is that?
Yeah.
So you would come up to Dundee, play some shows, and then you could maneuver around. I think the whole of Scotland, because it's quite small.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Scottish scene, you know?
Okay.
It can't really be like a city. It's almost like the whole country is like,
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we're doing Glasgow next. And you kind of get to know everyone in bands who are Scottish, because there aren't as many Scottish bands as, say, English bands, and then obviously American bands. And we're a minority over here, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, like, Scotland's got a lot of like shoegaze or post rock stuff happening over there. But like, yeah, as far as hardcore,
there's not
of anything.
there's some goodies, but few and far between.
Yeah, for sure. At what point did you start trying to form bands?
I was 13. I'm now 33, so 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I actually, Sharpie, who plays guitar in the band, I met him when I moved from primary school to high school.
Okay.
So I think we were 13 years old. I just got a bass guitar for my birthday, and he had a guitar. And he was the guy that showed me the Black Album. So we bought do you remember, I can see you've got a guitar on the back wall. So do you remember buying like the book of tabs for like an entire album?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had the Black Album, and we learned it start to finish. And
nice.
I played bass, he plays guitar. We're running through these little 10-watt Marshall combos in his mum's house, and thought we were amazing. Found a drummer. Found a guy who did vocals. The guy who did vocals ended up quitting because he got a job. So I was like, I'll do it. I can be James Hetfield. And can't, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my gateway. 13 years old with a bass guitar and a couple of stupid friends who are still my stupid friends.
Nice. Was that your first foray into vocals? Like, what led you to that?
Genuinely, that exactly.
Yeah.
So we were playing a show. Obviously, when you're younger, the smallest show in the world feels like the biggest show in the world.
Yeah.
So we had a show at this place called The Shore, which was like, it holds 30 people, and it was strictly under 16s, you know? So we're like 15 years old, and we're like, this is the biggest show of our career. And like, the guy who sang in the band just couldn't get the time off work.
Oh, man.
He used to wash dishes in a fish and chip shop. And so
funny.
Yeah, he was like, I can't do it. And I was like, well, we're not pooling it. It's going to be the biggest show of the year. So I gave it a shot, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. But from then I was just like, I can shout at people. This is fun.
Yeah. How did To Kill Achilles get started?
So it's quite a weird one, actually. So a guy called Mark Sharp, who plays guitar in our band just now, he's just left to do videography but he's still a part of our live show and stuff. So I keep saying he's there. He's not in the videos, but he's behind the camera. So he started a band called, you gotta love this, Decapitate Your Date. That was the original name.
Nice.
Loved it. Yeah. He started that with a couple of friends, and I was like, yeah, cool, man. I wasn't a part of it. At the time, I was doing like a synth pop acoustic auto-tune vocal. Sounds like Hello Goodbye, if you remember them.
Yeah.
That was my thing at the time. So I went to see them, and they were pretty good. I was like, that's actually great. So I asked if I could join, and they were like, no, we've got all the members. But Sharpie was like, I can't finish this song. Like, I have no idea how to finish this song. Can you help me write it? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. If I can be in the band. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? And I was like, I'll buy a keyboard. And I had no idea how to play keyboards. I didn't know how they worked or anything. And I was like, it'll be fine. So I played keyboards in To Kill Achilles, and that song was the first song that like kicked off our career. It's terrible, but it was like viral on YouTube for a bit and stuff.
Yeah.
It's called The Secret. It's awful. But it's fine. So we did that for a while. And then that was the initial part of To Kill Achilles. That was when we rebranded to that. And that was that old band. And I think me and Sharpie were the only two members left.
Oh, wow.
And it just changed. And then I somehow ended up on vocals. And he plays guitar and another guy plays bass, and it's just, yeah, it kind of fell to what it is just now, but it feels comfortable now.
Nice. At what point did you take over vocals?
So it's a bit of a weird story, actually. Our old vocalist, this was about 5-6 years ago, he was really scared of flying.
Okay.
So we had a tour booked in Eastern Europe. So it was like Greece and Serbia, Budapest, all these places. And at our level, especially at that time, touring's quite expensive.
Yeah.
Putting a lot into it and stuff. So we paid flights, we paid for van hire and a driver over there so that we could all drink, probably. And he got to the airport and he literally turned around and was like, I'm not getting on that flight. So everyone just went on the flight and he just went home. So I went through the security gates last. Like, he just told me, everyone had already gone through. So he told me and he was like, I'm just not doing this. And he went home. So I went through and our guitarist, Larry, was just like, where is that idiot? And I was like, oh, he's on the bus back to Dundee, actually. So they were like, everyone freaked out for like 20 minutes. We're like, what are we going to do? Technically, we broke contract because we were meant to have 5 people there and only 4 showed up. And that means that we didn't necessarily need to get paid all the guarantees that we booked and stuff. We were technically out of clause, which meant we couldn't pay the driver, which meant we couldn't do anything. And we were like freaking out. But I always wrote all the lyrics and stuff, just because I just did. I think the other guy just couldn't be bothered. He was good. He just wasn't as into it as the rest of us. So at that tour, we were like, right, I'll just do it. I'll just not put the keyboard up, which is fine because I'm basically miming it anyway because I don't know what I'm doing. I've got like 3 notes in the whole set. So I was like, I'll just do it. It'll be fine. And genuinely what happened was no one on the tour noticed that it wasn't him. It was ridiculous, but we were quite small at the time and stuff. Everyone was just, I think they just thought he put on weight. And I was like, cool, thanks. But yeah, so we ended up doing that. And like all the guys in the band, like we're all best friends and stuff. And we just became this really tight-knit unit. And the old vocalist, he became a professional tattoo artist and he's doing really well. And like, he's killing it, which is really good. Yeah. And I think everyone just realized like, you're already writing the stuff. You're already doing the backing vocal. The keyboards kind of suck and you don't know what you're doing. So maybe you could do that. So the fun thing for me is I got in because no one wanted me in. I just got in because I was helping write the end of a song. And then now I'm like the front man and doing the whole interviews and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I have wormed my way in here.
Just the parasite that won't go away.
That's how they describe me, man. Yeah, that's the one.
Where'd the name come from?
It's really lame, man. I apologize, but so originally we were watching the movie Troy. Don't know if you remember that, the big Greek-inspired one, Trojan horse and that. So that was about all that. And when I was watching that movie, we basically were just looking at like the idea of Achilles, right? Being this incredible, all like invincible giant that's like unbeatable. And I kind of figured out that that's a quite a good metaphor for some troubles that you might have in your head. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes in the darkest places, it feels like you can't get over this looming horrible feeling. And just like Achilles, there is a weak spot. Like you can find how to get better. So the whole name is a metaphor. To kill Achilles is to overcome what seems impossible, to get better. Yeah. That's my pretentious metaphorical answer, but really I was watching the movie Troy, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. What led you guys to a rising empire?
Right. This is kind of funny. I honestly don't know why they put up with us sometimes, and I'm really thankful for it. I believe the first thing that happened was we got an email from someone at a rising empire that basically just said, we've seen your old stuff. It's kind of cool. If you're doing anything in the future, let us know. And we were like, yeah, cool, no worries. But we just didn't have any plans for writing. We were touring a lot and stuff, and we just weren't really weren't really focusing on writing. So we're like, yeah, well, once we start writing, we'll send it to them and that'll be cool. Our drummer, Kieran, he went to Australia for a month, just like find himself, walk up some hills. He got incredibly drunk and sent one of the guys at A Rising Empire like a demo where it didn't even have vocals. It wasn't mixed. It was just like, it was like 3 guitar chords and like a really badly programmed drum beat. And he was like, what'd you think about this? And he woke up in the morning like, oh my God, what have I done? And the guy was like, when it's finished, send it back over and we'll have a think. So we were like, okay, well, that's not a no. So we came home after that, finished the song, sent like a collection of 4 or 5 of them over. And they were like, actually, this is really cool. And then they just decided to take us on, which was obviously we're eternally grateful for. And especially after how we approached it, that's just a streak of luck, you know?
You guys put out Something to Remember Me By in 2021. What was that process and experience like? How locked down were things in Scotland and how kind of confining was that release for you?
Oh man, that whole record was a difficult time. So obviously the record's really sad and a really difficult tongue twister to say, and try and do it in my accent. It's impossible. But yeah, that record's like it's a really sad record. And it was completely written before COVID. We pushed the release of that back like a year and a half, I think.
Oh damn!
Just because we didn't have like the right, the moment didn't feel right, and we were like, it was super emotional and stuff. So we agreed with the Rising Empire on this date after being late for videos and stuff. I'm telling you, man, they really put a lot of trust in us. It's great. So we were late for delivering a couple of videos and stuff, and we just couldn't get things to like work the way we wanted to. And we finally locked it in. And obviously the record deals with a lot of like depression and stuff. And like, I'll tell you just now, like I suffer a lot from anxiety. I'm not really depressed. It's just a severe anxiousness. That hit at 27. Out of nowhere. I didn't even know anxiety was a thing. And then bang, just crippled. Huge fear of just like mortality just sunk in to the point where if I left the house, I would like fully believe that I was just going to drop dead in the street, and that I'd have to like, my mom would have to find me and all this stuff. And like, my head just totally broke, and I put it all into this record. And I was like, this is like the thing, and it's going to be like the big thing that I got to put out with all my best friends. And we settled on the date, and it was in February in 2021. And the second we were just like gearing up to release, they closed everything. And that was rough.
Yeah.
So I feel like I love that record. Like I think the new one's better, but I love what it was, and it was such an outlet for me as a person. I'm really lucky to have had the voice to say that and deal with what was going on and really express what I'd never told anyone before, which was really cool. And I'm a little bit heartbroken because we didn't really get to tour it. I think we did one tour in 2022 at the end of 2022 around the UK for like 10 shows, and that was it. And then we were like, right, we need to write a new record because it kind of lost its momentum, and it just got buried. And the people that found it seemed to resonate with it, and that's cool. And I'm like grateful for everything. But I was a bit hard done by with that one.
Right. Yeah. You finally get your chance to release your label debut, and then like it just gets released into this void where you can't promote it. Like you can't tour it. You can't share it the same way. And it's just like,
yeah, man.
All right,
like
here it is. I hope people find it. Like, good luck.
Yeah, man. Like some of it was like the most like, obviously I blow everything out of proportion in my head, and I think all the guys do. But like some of it was like this is like the most important thing I've done with my life to this date, to me anyway, right?
Yeah.
And like it got the way it ended up coming across is literally just through an Instagram post. Do you know what I mean? That's all we could do.
Yeah.
So you're putting up a picture of your face on Instagram that doesn't matter and going, please listen to this song. I poured my actual life into it. Like it was the most important thing in the world. And I don't know about you, during COVID, I did listen to a lot of music, but because we couldn't go outside and like walking here was limited to one a day for like a maximum of half hour. So you're not allowed outside kind of thing.
Oh shit.
It was rough, man. And I do a lot of listening to music just with like these headphones and like just walking. I just find it really relaxing and stuff. They kind of took away the ability to walk. And like, so I stopped listening to music, and I wasn't trying to find new music because I was just in this void like everyone else of going, oh my God, this is hopeless.
Yeah.
And so that then made me pretty cynical because I was like, I've just released a record into the void, and the void wasn't there when it was meant to come out a year ago, and I pushed it back because I was being a fanny.
What has led to, as a band, this shift in sound over time from like those first two records, like the independent releases are very like just like standard metalcore or whatever, just standard.
Yeah.
And you really shifted into more atmosphere and more post-hardcore. Like the new record reminds me a lot of like La Dispute, like especially in your vocal delivery. So like what has led to that?
Honestly, the best way I can describe it is like, I do not say this lightly. As a band, we are literally just best friends, right? So I live with the drummer. I am the best man at the bassist's wedding next year. I am like our guitarist. The house that we've just moved into is our guitarist's old house that he let us move into when we got kicked out of our old house. Like these are like, we are all the best of friends. So at the start, it was just like, you want to play some metalcore songs? Because metalcore was really cool. And we were like, yeah, that's sweet. So we were just going up, trying to do breakdowns. I just wanted to spin kick someone. Like I was like, this is going to be great. And that's just what was popular and what was fun. And I think that first record came out when we were about 22 or something, you know, like quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
And over the years, unfortunately, but also fortunately, like I said, I had no mental health issues or anything like that growing up. I was very lucky and stuff. And then things started to pick up. And as you get older, as horrible as it is, but everyone has to face it, stuff happens, man. You lose people. You go through experiences that you maybe didn't think before. I think your mortality comes more into mind because when you're a kid, you're invincible. When you're an adult, you're one cold away from the ground. Like it's just that. So I think originally it was like, let's play some metal songs. And then over time it was just like, because we've been doing it for so long and it means so much to us, it was starting to channel actually how we felt into the music and like let that be the release for the fear of just being an adult. Do you know what I mean? As you grow up and bills start piling up and all these responsibilities come and you kind of feel a little bit lost sometimes. It was a great release to put that into the music as opposed to just playing breakdance for fun. Yeah. And then as we started going down that line, I got really, really obsessed with like speaking about the stuff in my head. And the guys I'm so grateful for them. They literally let me say anything. I get no revisions on any lyrics I write or anything. It's just like, hey man, you do your thing and that's cool. Yeah. But when I started going in on being quite sad and quite storytelling and quite emotional and quite open, that sounds pretentious. I don't think I'm good, by the way. But you know what I mean? We then had to have the conversation of like, I don't know if you can do these lyrics over metalcore riffs. because they just don't make sense. And like I grew up listening to like bands like Touche Amore and Being as an Ocean. La Dispute's a great example. I love the kind of alt rock scene as well, of like Midwest emo and stuff. So like I absolutely loved Hotel Books, if you remember them. They were great. That was like a spoken word kind of thing. And then of course bands like Movements and like it's just like that kind of rocky thing, but with like these super intense lyrics. And we were like, man, the common thing here, the common thread is the music needs to be an extension of the lyrics, as opposed to the lyrics now being an extension of the music, which I think is how it used to be. It was write the cool breakdown, then put the shout over it. Now it's write the cool lyric and find the chord that works.
Yeah.
That's the best way I could put it.
Yeah. Yeah. I always think back to like Under Oath's Define the Great Line, and I'm like, that's a great record. I don't know what the fuck any of those songs are about. It's just like word salad.
Yeah. It's excellent though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great, but those songs, like, whatever.
Yeah, that's it. It's exactly that. It's you're totally right. Dividing the Great Line. I don't know what they're singing about. I don't know what the song is about. I don't know the emotional connection, but that is bangers, and that's just as important. You know.
Yeah.
Good songs is good songs. I love that, but I think as we decided to like kind of file down and define our little thing that we do, it was just like, okay, we'll try and write like stuff that someone could happily listen to more than once. But there are a couple of songs where it's like, that one only exists for when you feel like that. And I understand that.
It's just a weekend I could change my ways. I've been taking these pills for all my days, but nothing changes if you can't take a leap of faith. It's just a couple days, it's just a couple days, and I can hold myself accountable. But this chemical imbalance makes me vulnerable, and I'm scared. So used to feeling the cold, but when the war hits, it's too much to control. But like I said,
The new record is called Recovery, out on the 11th of August. This seems like, this deals with addiction and overcoming addiction. Is this a personal story, whether autobiographical or witnesses like friends and family members going through addiction and this battle?
So it's essentially it's addiction and just the idea of mental health in general as well. That's the two things. It's all very personal. I don't think I can, as a guy who writes some lyrics, I don't think I'm like, in terms of vocalist, right? I don't think I'm actually like a talented vocalist. And I'm not saying that as in like, well, I'm not that good. I mean, like, there are people out there that can do like the low thing, the high thing, the pitch screams, all that stuff. These super talented people who have just locked in. Yeah. I literally came from like a punk background of just like, I just shout as loud as I can and try and make it feel like it's real. Like, I have no talent. I blow out my voice every show. I'm probably going to lose my voice very, very soon. I'm not doing it right, but that then means that if I don't tell a story that's true, I think it's so obvious to see through it, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, a big one's addiction. I have a bit of a problem with alcohol in general. It's not a problem as of yet, but it's very showing its head that it could be. I drink very often, and I love it, and that's what I hate about it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I know some people who, when they'll drink, they'll have like personal limits. I do not have personal limits. If I'm drinking till I'm asleep, and that's it. Like, I went out last night. I was literally like, I'll have a couple of drinks in the house, and I was out till 4 a.m. You know, I just can't stop when I start, and it's not caused me any physical problems yet, but it then tweaks with my mental health and stuff. So the idea of the record was almost like a promise to myself and to like the whole band and stuff, just that like I can see the problems that I have as a person, and it is definitely time to change them. So if I've put this thing out there that's basically me saying I'm going to try and better myself, then I have something that will literally hold me accountable. That was the main reason for it.
Yeah. as a person who quit drinking and got sober in 2020 amid lockdowns, like when Chemical Counterparts like premiered, like that song hit me super hard and like instant connection where I was like, all right, I fucking love this band.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's exactly that, and well done for getting sober, man. I need to follow in your footsteps. I just love beers, man. So annoying.
Yeah. Who did the album artwork?
Our drummer.
Yeah.
Our drummer did it. I can't remember who took the photo. Can't remember where the photo came round. So he just showed me it one day, and he was like, "I'm thinking this." So there was originally two ideas. So our last album, our guitarist took the photo that was the front cover, which was just me underwater. And we had to go to our friend's dad's house, has a swimming pool. So we had to like buy like a bag to put the camera in to get it underwater. Yeah. And like that was terrifying because we got like the £5 one off Amazon. So we're like, that's not going to work. So that was difficult. But the idea of that is like in that record, the last line is that the person doesn't make it through and ends up going to the water, and that's it. With Recovery, the front image is meant to be someone in the worst state of their lives, which that is a person strung out on heroin in a train station. Like, it's genuinely what the thing is. There was meant to be a back image of that same person better, but that same person hasn't got better yet. So at the moment, it's open tie.
Open-ended. Yeah. Album's out in a few weeks. What's the rest of the year look like for the band?
We're actually just working on that just now. So we had a lot of stuff, a lot of deadlines for the record and stuff, and a couple of things. So now that it's finally coming out, we're just in talks with a bunch of booking agents. We're dying to get out and play shows. The only thing we've got booked at the moment is Summer Breeze Festival in Germany, which is amazing, and there's such cool bands playing that. And total well privileged to even be on it, you know. But we need to book up the rest of the year because I feel like we've not been out as a band for a very long time, and I'm desperate to get back out.
Yeah. And it seems like we've reached the point post-pandemic now where I see a lot of US bands going to do their European tours now, and it's like I feel like that market's not big enough to support the US bands coming over and the local bands.
Yeah, that's pretty good assumption, man. But yeah, so now that things are opening up and stuff, well, not opening up, now that things are kind of back to normal fully, I think there's a lot of bookings that are still going ahead from pre-COVID, if that makes sense. Like all the shows that got cancelled, I think they're still like realigning that. So that's why it's been a little bit quiet and stuff. But I think we're now at a point where they're finishing up, and we're able to like start focusing on booking new stuff. So our plan is basically just to book everything.
Yeah. Because you guys released your last album into this void where you couldn't do anything with it, does this feel like a reintroduction? Like if people missed the last album, like, hey, we got this new thing, and you know, building off the sound of the last record, but another evolution, right? Like, hey, we're Yeah, no, man, totally. The annoying thing of the last record was like the style change was like really important. We always called it like it was like the defining album of the sound. Like it was like this is what it's going to be now, and I think a lot of people did miss it. So this second record makes a lot more sense to the people who heard the first. But it's almost like a new band from Something to Remember Me By and Recovery, based on anything else. It's like it's almost brand new, and it's quite weird. We've had a couple of comments from people who maybe missed the first record, the last record, and they were like, "Man, when did this happen?" And it's all been positive, which is great, but sometimes it does feel like you're kind of jumping in both feet and being like, hey, the drummer sings now, and like that was never a thing before. And there's a couple of songs where I'm just like, I didn't even bother shouting, I was just talking, and like just little things like that. And there's quite a style change, but it's going down really well for the risk that it was to take. Nice. And people can go to a Rising Empire store and they go to buy this record and they're like, oh shit, there's another one we missed. And we just I
Actually, I'm not allowed to say anything about that. That was close. There's cool things happening.
Nice.
So it'll all be good. But yeah, the new record and stuff, it's like, it is, in my opinion, which is, I think everyone in this position who's putting out a record would say this, but it is the best work we've done as a band. It sounds finally like we know what we're doing, and it's not gonna make you overly cry too much, but it's still in there.
Yeah, just a little bit of tears.
Yeah. It's sad, but the last album was harrowing. Like, this one's just. If the last one was horrible, this one's just quite a bad thing.
No, I'm not gonna let myself down. It'll take all that's in me, climb mountains and part the sea, just to make it to the shore where I find some peace within my mind.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.